Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Rabbi.
Thank you. We continue with Shaar Hasimcha, the gate of happiness in Orchos Tzadikim. So we discussed last night what brings a person to Simcha, and we also defined Simcha not as happiness, we defined Simcha as an inner contentment. That nothing can happen. A person's in a state that nothing can happen to him that's going to make him upset. That's the ideal state of Simcha, where a person is Sameach Tadir, says the Orchos. He's always happy, says the Orchos Tzadikim. We discussed how it has a positive effect on a person's health. We're going to, Be'ez Hashem, get tonight. We see other positive effects on a person's mental health that Simcha has. And then, right away, the Orchos Tzadikim pointed out that Simcha has a dangerous outcome. A dangerous outcome of Simcha is what's called Schreck, which is levity, lightheadedness. When a person's happy, like everything's going well and everything's taken care of, it kind of gives him like a certain false sense of security, and that leads to Schreck and excessive Simcha, which is no good. So the Orchos Tzadikim then goes on, and that's the next few paragraphs, explaining a bad effect of Simcha, or when the Simcha is channeled into the wrong places. So Simcha, like all character traits, like all midas, like all emotions, is neither good nor bad. It depends how you're using it. So we saw last night, if a person is happy when his friend stumbles, physically or spiritually, so it's a very bad form of Simcha. It's actually an indication the person is not a true Oved Hashem. Because if a person really, felt the honor of Hashem, and one of Hashem's army soldiers did the wrong thing, so it would bother any supporter of that king. So therefore, one has to make sure when he davens, he's davening for everyone. As the Orchos Tzadikim points out, that in our Shemona Esrei, it's all Lashon Rabin. It's all plural. So we're davening for everyone should be Choser B'Tshuva. Everyone Hashem should give Seichel, should give Das to, etc. So continues the Orchos Tzadikim in the paragraph starting Yesh Oid Simcha. There's another type of Simcha with Schoik and levity, Rama Oid, it's very bad. And that is, a person who makes fun of, who's lightheaded towards those who fulfill Hashem's mitzvahs. He makes fun of religious people doing religious things. And he points out that there are 4 negative effects of someone who does that. Number 1, we'll do this outside, he is preventing himself from engaging in mitzvahs and learning Torah. Because if I'm going to be making fun of people who are doing it, I'm going to act in a lightheaded way, I'm going to make jokes about it. So every joke I make and every negative comment I make, I'm pushing myself further and further away from engaging in mitzvahs myself. That's number 1. Number 2, by doing so, the person might create an environment where people, he says even a tzaddik, might be embarrassed to do a mitzvah. So I'm stopping an otherwise from person from doing mitzvahs. Number 3, there are those people who potentially might come to Yiddishkeit, and now they're going to hear this guy making fun of it. It's not for me. So a person now prevented people from coming into Yiddishkeit, that the rest of their lives they'll remain in the dark. They'll remain in the dark forever. And it's all this person's fault because they're about to come close to Yiddishkeit, and a comment was made, and they decided, it's a ridiculous thing. Chas v'sholom. And the 4th issue is that, and we'll see this inside, he's similar to an armed robber, the person who's making lightheadedness, levity, about people who keep Torah and mitzvahs. Sho'imin al parshas drachim, who stands by the intersection of the big highways. V'koitzeitz raglei mivi'in dorin l'melech. And anytime someone's bringing a present to the king, so this person stands there and he attacks that convoy and he takes it for himself, or he blows it up. This is a person who's an enemy of the king. So a person who's standing there and preventing himself and others from doing mitzvahs is essentially blowing up the doirin, the present, the service that people are bringing to the king. So he's stopping others and himself from doing mitzvahs. And again, he's indicating that he doesn't really take Hashem seriously. He's not really on Hashem's team. If he was, then he'd obviously want people to keep Torah mitzvahs. That's a second negative effect, or the second area where simcha is not being used in the proper manner. That's number 2. Number 3, yesh oid simcha mara kala'ana. There's another simcha that's very bitter. When roid fe'niaf the gazel Shaar aveirus. There are certain people who run after aveirus, promiscuous activity, thievery, usmeichim b'hasigam hatayvus harois. A very interesting observation here. There's a certain simcha that some people have when they do the wrong thing. There's a pasuk in, I think it's in Mishlei. If it's not, it's in Koheles. Mayim gnuvim yimtaku. There's a concept that the stolen waters are sweet. That sometimes, if it's permitted, that it's okay, I don't need it. But once it's forbidden, once it's usher, all of a sudden, I have a desire for it. So he doesn't bring that pasuk, but he brings another pasuk in Mishlei, al elu amru, hasmeichem la'asa is ra, those who are happy to do evil, yagilu b'sa'apucha is ra. They're happy when they're able to turn a situation into evil. V'onsham gadol ad sha'ol tachtas, and their punishment is going to be very, very severe. So there's a certain simcha that a person, I guess, can make himself accustomed to, where he's happy to do the wrong thing. He gets a contentment by doing that which is usher. And I guess, even though that's not a natural desire, I think every human being is wired naturally to be good and do the right thing. But a person can take something that's not natural and create a regulus for it. You can take a very bad smell or a very bad tasting drink, and if you keep on drinking it and drinking it and drinking it, you'll end up enjoying it. This is my unpopular theory when it comes to beer and hard liquor. No one thinks it tastes good. You have to acquire a taste for it, right? I can say this now because everyone's muted, and no one's going to yell at me now. But you have to acquire a taste for it. As one person once said, you don't have to acquire a taste for potato chips, right? For popcorn, you don't have to acquire a taste for that because those taste good. But there are certain things that, objectively, I would say, leaving aside beer and alcohol, certain things don't taste good, but you can acquire a taste for it. So a person, says the Orchos Tzadikim, can acquire a taste for doing evil and enjoy doing evil. So that's the third application of simcha, which is not a good way to do, not a good thing to do. Number 4, v'yesh oid simcha me'urbedes. There's another evil type of simcha. He calls it a simcha me'urbedes, which means like it's a mixture. We say in Yiddish, a mishachts. It's a person mixes himself or herself up. Hamala oshan l'chol ha-mitzvahs v'hamashkacha ziras Hashem yizbarach m'libo b'nei adam. This mode of simcha causes it to smoke around all the mitzvahs. In other words, it causes everything to become unclear. Everything is smoky, nothing is clear, and it causes a person to forget Yiras Hashem, the fear of heaven. And it's actually appropriate to what I said a few seconds ago. The people who get drunk. They're mishtakim to get drunk. They go to the bar, they go to the pub, and they have a good time, they enjoy themselves. We're not talking about a person who enjoys a shot of whiskey between his fish and his meat on Shabbos. We're not talking about a person even who enjoys a shot of whiskey at a kiddush. We're talking about a person who's mamish getting inebriated, he's getting drunk. Going to a pub or not going to a pub. After his simcha, when he wakes up from his drunken stupor, then it's tuga, then it's no good. It's like avelus, it's like mourning. Many kilkulim, many negative things come from when a person drinks. Who's a wiser man than Shlomo Melech? And he quotes a pasuk in Mishlei where it points out all these geferliche, horrible things. Who does it happen to? It happens to the person who gets drunk. Psukim in Yeshaya, one pasuk says, the person is music and he's drinking. There's toil Hashem lo yabitu. He's not looking at the actions of Hashem. And Hashem's handiwork he doesn't see. So becoming drunk, definitely on a consistent basis, when it's a part of a person's lifestyle to become drunk and lightheaded, that definitely prevents him from seeing HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this world. Lachein herchiva sh'ol nafsho for appeal of the choik, the Ar Hadar v'amoyna shoin of Allah's bought caused the person to go down to Gehenna, and the Orchos Tzadikim brings a number of psukim who point out all the calamities that will fall before the person who is getting drunk, who's a drunkard, who's a big drinker. Hine hayayin goyrim liyos visloitze, to cause the person to make fun of everything. Liyos hoime ubal dvarim, to talk a lot. Bottom line, he's not going to increase his knowledge if he's a drinker. The Koser ben Moshe Maimoni, he quotes the Rambam. Hakibutz al hashtil. The Rambam here says a very strong statement that gathering together to drink in a lightheaded way, it should be more of a bizayon, more of an embarrassment than people who get together to do promiscuous things. Right? They're walking around not clothed properly, doing the wrong thing, getting together with our suits and ties like chashava businessmen, and drinking should be worse than getting together to act promiscuously. Why? Zok the Rambam, shichrus, getting drunk, a person is taking the only real thing that he has. The person is taking the only thing that's really a part of him that you can never take away, and that's his mind. He's taking his most important kli, the most important thing that he has, and he's turning it off. He's taking it away from himself. It's mafsid the seichel. Asher nafach Hashem yisbarach ba'apav, that Hashem blew into his nostrils. So that is the bad drinking. And he's coming out very strongly opposed to drinking. But listen to this. Omnam. However, shtiyas hayayin toiv ma'oid. Everyone's ears perk up. Drinking wine is very good. Bizman shetishta al minhag hamaskilin. As long as a person is drinking like intellectual people drink. Kederach Shomar Shloimeh, like Shloimeh HaMelech said, Tenu Sheichar La'oived, give beer to the person who is lost, V'yayin L'mari Nefesh, a pasuk in Mishlei, and give wine to the person who has a bitter soul. Yishteh V'yishkach Rishoy, he'll drink, he'll forget his poverty, financial poverty, mental poverty, V'amal Lo Yizkar Oid, and he won't remember his toil. So here we see that there is a positive role that wine plays. Besides the fact that wine was used in the Beis HaMikdash on the Mizbeach, that's the next pasuk he brings here. We say in Sefer Shoftim that wine is Mesameach Elokim Va'anoshim. It gladdens Hashem and man. So the Gemara Bracha says, at the beginning of the sixth parak, that we understand how wine gladdens man. How does it gladden Hashem? In what way does it make Hashem happy? So the Gemara learns from there that the Leviim in the Beis HaMikdash would sing shira. They would sing songs when they would offer the wine libations. Meaning it was known to be a time of simcha, even klape shmaya, which means for Hashem. So wine could be a very positive thing. And the Orchos Tzadikim is a mari makom for a person to take, we'll call it medication, to take drugs, in order to put himself in the proper mood. In other words, the Orchos Tzadikim is saying, for an antidepressant, you could drink wine. Now, obviously, that has to be done in a responsible way. But we do have a Mari Malka, we do have a source in the Orchos Tzadikim. He's saying, from this pasuk in Mishlei, which other Mefarshim, other commentaries learn differently. The Orchos Tzadikim is understanding the pasuk in Mishlei, give beer to the lost one and wine to the Mari Nefesh. Mari Nefesh can mean a depressed person, give him wine, it'll cause him to forget his sorrows. Now, the answer to my problems is not found in the bottom of the bottle, right? That's not what he's saying here. But there is a place, when a person is feeling an acute pain, there is a place for him to drink to forget his sorrows. And he continues, the pasuk in Tehillim says that wine is misameach lavav, the heart of man. In Shaar Shlomo Melech says that your friendship is as good as wine. So Mikol Eila says the Orchos Tzadikim Neda Shevach Hayayin. From all these psukim we see the praise of wine. the praise of alcohol. That's only if it's in accordance with the guidelines of the wise men, the chachamim, who know how much to drink, or more appropriately, how little to drink. Sheyigbar haseichel al hayayin. There is a point where a person drinks where his seichel is being goiver. It's in control of his wine. V'yigbar hayayin ala seichel. And the wine is not in control of the seichel. So the Orchos Tzadikim is giving us a rule, which each person, each responsible person can hopefully apply to himself. That when my drinking is to a point where my seichel is still in control of the wine, so I'm not saying things that I otherwise wouldn't say because they're inappropriate. When a person drinks wine, he loses his inhibitions. So that means certainly, I might love you very much. I'm not going to say I love you. I'm not going to say that, right? When I drink wine and I'm Purim, so you lose your inhibitions. That's a good thing, once in a while. But when a person is going to say things that they're going to regret later because it was inappropriate, that we see it's the wine controlling the person's intellect. A person who drinks at a certain time, a certain amount, with his loved ones, with his friends, with the Hasidim, with the Tzadikim, with Moshe Feinstein, is having a l'chaim and a chasna, with the Gadlador, with the Choshevarov. V'loi im artiloim v'reikin. He's not. Who's his company? His company isn't empty people, non-Torahic people. Ki hayayin, and this is a big chiddush. Yosef chachmas amukim. Wine can help a person add to his chachma, add to his intellect, his knowledge base. The eitz hachayin l'machazikim ba, and it could be a tree of life to those who grab onto it. V'oid hayayin Yosef chachmas amaskol v'yachlu shtos evil. The yayin wine is going to add to the knowledge of the intelligent person, and it's going to accentuate the foolishness of the fool. Wine exacerbates things, right? It makes things more extreme. So a smart person will increase his chachma, a foolish person will act more foolish. The love I have for my friend will increase, but the hate, the eva, a person has for his oyev, for his enemy, will also increase. Yiftach yad hanadiv, the generous person will give more. V'yechazik leiv hakili, and the stingy person will clench his fist tighter, will hold his hand back tighter. So wine has that ability. That's nichlas yain yatzasoy. Whatever the person, whatever midos he has, it'll cause them to come out in a more extreme way. So there is a positive place for wine, but yesh lod, we have to figure out, is there a way to do this effectively today? That's already a separate discussion. That gets into the discussion of how much do we trust the average yankel to do it properly. There are many places where drinking is a big problem. So you have to know. But this is conceptually, it's clear from the Orchos Tzadikim, drinking wine plays a very important role in Yiddishkeit if it's done in the proper manner. I wouldn't be surprised if many would say that we can't do this today. We must make a loy plug, and there's no drinking. Others will say in certain contexts, but definitely there is a time and a place for drinking. We'll chapra in one more paragraph. V'zois mida shoyse yayin, yosim hayayin refuah l'da'agasai, v'yischazik b'torah l'lamda b'simcha. Another advantage of those who drink wine, in a positive sense, that it's a refuah for his daiga. It's the medicine for his worry, and it is mechazik him, it strengthens him to learn Torah b'simcha. If a person is not happy, if a person is upset, if he's down, he's not going to be able to learn. And it's not just learning Torah, he will not be able to be effective in anything in life if a person is not b'simcha. The gam bezdin mitzdarin lo yuchul levar adin ben kosh l'treifa. If a Jewish court is not in a good state of mind, they cannot paskin a shayla. They will not be able to figure out if the animal is a kosher animal or if it's a treif animal. Ben heter iser, between heter and iser. So what we'll hold here, the big chiddush that the Orchos Tzadikim is saying here that we'll continue with tomorrow night, is that simcha allows a person to be effective. In general, he's talking about Torah and mitzvahs, but it applies to everything. If a person is besimcha, then his family life is good, he's happy with his kids, he's happy in shul, he's happy at work. If he's a besimcha-dik person, for the reasons we'll discuss tomorrow night, everything around him is going to work out. If the person is not besimcha, then that causes friction amongst people. So usually the tsaras happen when there's something wrong with the person. Usually the issues I have in my life, right, I can correct them. Usually the small ones for sure, they're in my control to have the positive mindset, to have the simchatik mindset, and then things seem to work out. So we'll pick up with this Be'ezras Hashem tomorrow night. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. Very good.
Thanks.